Yeah, you and me both, bitch. The Matrix is losing its hold on you. Let's see what he has to say. Who is this guy?
No movement, so confusing, and I'm consistently finding myself full into a deep pattern and numbing it without even realizing it there. It is so frustrating when I see it. Why can't I seem to get past the numbing and the distracting? One of the things that I'm noticing is you said it's so frustrating when I see it. The reason it's frustrating when you see it is because you're free when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, when you see something, you've already separated from it.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing something means that you're the one that sees it, right? So
Quantum physics.
when you're frustrated, that's a good sign. It's because the thing that you're seeing is breaking off of you, right? It's when you're in it that you think everything's fine, but you're not. You're just living in a pattern and you have no awareness that you are. Right? So the pattern that you're talking about is so much movement, which sounds like a complaint, no movement, which sounds like a complaint. So I hear a lot of rules, right? I need to have a lot of movement. I need to have no movement.
Mm-hmm.
So confusing, meaning I need to know everything that's going on. And I'm consistently finding myself full into a deep pattern and numbing it without realizing that I'm there. I want you to just allow everything for a second. Just allow it. First of all, you in the now are trying to take on all the things that aren't even here right now, because there's no way that you have so much movement and no movement at the exact same time, right? You're thinking of another time when you have so much movement and you're taking that on, which isn't in the now. You're thinking of another time when you have no movement and you're taking that on, which isn't in the now. Mm-hmm. So confusing, which means there's a control freak that's trying to make sense out of things that are bigger than your small self can have. And I'm consistently finding myself full into a deep pattern and numbing it without even realizing I'm there. All I hear is you are breaking out of the matrix. You are leaving the matrix.
Yes.
And I hear that life is a giant ball of confusion, but when you knew how everything worked, you were in a matrix. Like the matrix is designed to make sense to the mind, right? So when we don't have problems in the old days, we're like within the rules of the matrix. We're in this small box, and everything in the world is just making sense. I know what I'm here to do. I'm a baker. I'm going to go bake. I have my purpose. It's not your purpose. I know how much money I'm going to make next year. There's no adventure in that. You just have I understand what's going on. And now we're in a world where everything that we could see is collapsing because we are rising out of the matrix. So it's going to go through phases of not making sense. You're going to see the illusion of movement, and you're going to see the illusion of no movement, because you're still looking circumstantially versus at what you are. Mm-hmm. You're just this moment right now, and you're trying to be the movement. You're trying to be the deep pattern that you're numbing. Just take a deep breath in and notice what you're feeling, not what the movement is on the external or the lack of movement, right? So right now, Lisa, take a deep breath in and notice what's here. I want you to all know that in the next month and next year, you are going to see more chaos than you've ever seen in your life. I promise you. The matrix is collapsing exponentially fast. The world that you mentally understood is going to go batshit. But you're going to be fine if you understand that that's not you. It's just a computer program that's going crazy. But it's going to be crazy. Your idea of how money works is going to collapse. Your idea of your safety net is going to collapse. Your idea of how a relationship works is going to collapse. Everything's going to not make sense coming up because you chose to expand over be the best within the matrix. You're not here to be the best within the matrix. You are here to find out what the hell you are. And every time you spoke to God, every time you meditated, every time you made a choice of your highest that wasn't in the world of what you should do, every moment you did that, you declared to the universe, I'm here for the real thing. So when you're here for the real thing, what happens? The not real thing goes crazy. And right now you can rest in the idea that a lot of people are doing that right now. So the matrix is losing its grab on a lot of people. There's so many people that are exiting the idea of the small self. And what I'm here to do is offer you that just the awareness that's what's happening, so you start to feel the practice of not needing to feel safe within the matrix, but safe within you. And safe within the truth of what you are. You, in this moment, are connected to the all that isness that holds the illusion of the matrix. And I'd rather you connect to the all that isness than the matrix. The movement, the lack of movement, all that stuff is in the matrix because you're leaving it. It can't grab you now. So we don't work on the circumstances as much as we continue our ascension, right? Take a deep breath in for a second. And notice that you can feel no movement and all kinds of movement in the now, but notice that you're just sitting on a chair or you're sitting on your bed watching this.
I'm sitting on a chair.
And that's it.
A drummer's chair.
Like the mind wants to make sense of all these external things because it's just surviving constantly. The mind is always surviving. Your soul is thriving. You're also in a split between surviving and thriving right now. Meaning like you're used to living. I want you to know you're used to living. Even if you got the motivation world nailed, it's still under the confines of surviving.
Yeah.
Of fear. I got to do it right because then I won't get yelled at. I got to do it right because I don't want to become homeless. So you have a survival mind that's collapsing because it's being replaced for the first time with more and more thriving. So you're connecting to the now where there's going to be a lot of thriving, right? But don't aim for the thriving, aim for the now. Every time I let go of something that isn't quite in alignment for me, I get magic on the other side of it. And it's never something my mind anticipated would be on the other side while I was holding on to the thing. Like, take that in for a second. In other words, when you're still holding on to any old survival mechanism or something that isn't quite aligned with you, you're often in that space trying to see what's going to be on the other side. And you're only seeing still from the survival mind. So it shows you the best thing that the survival mind can show you. But when you let go of it and when more of the matrix inside of your mind falls, it's replaced with things and ideas that would have never been perceived from the survival mind. So you just have to understand there's miracles on the other side, but I want you to know you can never see what the miracles are, right, from the survival mind. So what you're going to need to do, Lisa, is continue, take a deep breath in. Lisa said that drives me crazy, and what I want to offer you is it drives the pattern crazy. It only drives crazy what you've understood. And I want your mind to just go, I want you in the now to let your mind go crazy. Meaning you stay present, so you create a space that's safe for it. I'm not saying you go crazy. Mike's nailing it. I am not my mind. And let yourself be here and watch as your mind goes crazy for a minute, because you never want to go crazy. Your pattern does. It's losing its grasp on safety, and then it goes, if I don't have safety, unseen traumas from before safety come to light. So it actually believes if I don't know what to do, I'll re-get hit again, or my parents will divorce again, or I won't be able to be there for a sibling. Whatever the trauma is, but that's why you get present for it, and it experiences whatever its fall apart is and sees that doesn't happen now. So then it rewires itself through the experience of that it's now safe, right? This is something you have to understand. You cannot understand things just from me saying it. You can only understand things through experience. Your body wires itself through experience, not just the mental understanding. In other words, you cannot hear about skydiving for 20 years and have it be the same as the experience of skydiving, right? So it drives you crazy because we haven't proven to the pattern that's freaking out that it's safe through the experience of letting go of whatever it's holding on to, and then seeing after it does, the trauma from childhood doesn't come up anymore, or it comes up to leak.
stuff is so esoteric and it's so hard to explain. But the bottom line is that I think he's telling everybody to not come from a survival brain, your reptilian brain, and to just flow with whatever collapse is going to happen. And the more mentally stable you are, the more you'll thrive through the collapse. I don't know if your physical body will survive, but if you work on your mental, we're all energy. So if we disappear, we'll live on in the fifth dimension, or a dimension where there is no matrix. The matrix itself has been created to separate man from his power, to separate man from his infinite potential. The form of capitalism that we've been under is corrupted to the core. It's crony capitalism. It's 1%, wealth. But really the wealth is in peace. The wealth is in acceptance. The wealth is in letting the reality around you collapse, but keeping your mind intact. And that's going to be hard to do when you're trying to feed your family, you're trying to find a job, and there's this dystopian sort of collapse around you. And how that looks is lack in the material. But you have to keep your mental in the metaphysical in order to survive it. And survival is going to look different for a lot of different people. Survival could mean that your physical body doesn't survive it, but your energy goes to a different plane in a different realm of existence, which is very unsettling for me and a lot of people, because to think of like your physical body not being here anymore is existentially threatening, right? It's an existential crisis, obviously. So all this esoteric shit that's coming out is not that soothing. It's not, because people are not telling you exactly what's going to happen. But I'm trying to get to the point where I'm peaceful enough where I can actually understand what's going to happen. I don't like surprises. I don't think a lot of people thrive in surprises, but the element of the unknown we've been in this slow motion car accident since the communist takeover of 2020. And it just keeps ratcheting up and getting crazier and crazier. And this guy is just telling you to hold on and chill out. And it's very hard for people to do we've been existing inside of this structure.
But it doesn't happen anymore, right? So all of our giant panics that we feel when we let go of something, all of the freakouts that we have, all of the fear when we let go of the person that we've been holding on to, or we let go of the certainty, or let go of even just knowing what to do. Mm-hmm. When you let go of that, the mind goes, if I do, unseen things that I experienced in my childhood will happen to me again. But when you let go of them and you sit there and it goes, and it learns that that's not happening, that then becomes permanently rewired. Mm-hmm. And you start to then rewire, I'm rewarded when I let go, or I'm rewarded when I trust, or I'm rewarded when I move forward. And it goes from I'll be beaten again, or I'll be abandoned again, right? That to my freedom is in letting go. And all of humanity is a bunch of people with different types of wiring through past experiences, which is crazy, right? So when you see someone, don't just see someone, see a collection of experiences that wired them as, and it's factual in their body, that that's how life works. And they're talking to someone who has a completely different wiring through experiences. And what your wiring is fact. But when you start to go, whoa, I'm just the now, then you start to have the ability to continually rewire the wiring. And you stop having permanent rewiring about one circumstance or a few circumstances, and you become the now, and the wiring can adjust over and over and over again. And you start to move into the now. So the panicking and the going crazy and the freaking out and all those things, Lisa, are just wiring that's never experienced the safety of the now. And all of your panic about life, about politics, about what's going on in the world, about what social media is like or whatever, like, you have the power to redo the wiring, but you have to do it experientially. You can't just say, I can do that, while you keep doing the other stuff. Mm-hmm. The body will only rewire to you doing the new thing. So the power of you doing the thing and just letting it freak out and then see that it's safe is infinite.
I don't know.
And so, Lisa, all of this is happening. It's okay. So let that be. Lisa says, I can't get myself to do the new thing. There's a great quote. I believe it was David Wilcox who said, a negative experience repeats itself over and over till it's no longer useful. So there's a reason you're not doing it yet. There might be other things trying to come up and be seen, right? Mm-hmm. So that's okay, right? That you can't do the thing yet. I want you to make that okay, right? Mm-hmm. So this isn't everyone start surrendering and doing your equivalent of skydiving tonight. This is just understand that your deep-rooted, horrified fear is an illusion at one level, unless we're talking literal fight or flight. If there's an actual gunman or your house is on fire, get out. But that's what the wiring's actually for. It's for your physical survival, but we're using it completely not for that. So I hope that helps, Lisa. Just get present, get here. And I want you to know the biggest thing I can tell you about what your question is I want you to know something that there's no way you can mentally see. You're completely on track. You're completely on track. Anyone who completely looks like they have their shit together is the same as that boyfriend you used to date that's lost and won't admit they're lost. They're just confident because they want to look good to you, but they're scared to say they're lost. And the most advanced thing now is for us to sit in our lostness. You know, we know what it's like to have that friend who's like, I'm not lost, we're fine. You've driven by the same McDonald's like 8 times, and you're like, let's ask, and they never ask, they don't want to ask. They look like they have their shit together, but they don't. Right? Mm-hmm. Your fourth density, fifth dimension work is you getting present for the idea that your connection is to source now. So you don't necessarily need to have things together anymore. It's things falling apart. It's following a guidance system that's bigger than the you that knows what to do.
Hard to do.
The only difference between, someone just said, it feels like I've always been lost. The only difference between that and some other people that are doing well is they're just fine with being lost. So just get fine with that you're always lost, right? Okay. I hear an undertone of judgment, right? I'm always lost, right? Get okay with it.
Okay.
Get okay with it. Just the more you're okay with lost, the more you're making room for new guidance.
Man, I don't know if that helped you at all. It's all so esoteric. It's all so, you have to be okay with just what's happening, basically. I feel like I have to sigh after listening to that. all this attachment to physical materialism is going to collapse around us. And how we respond and help each other, how we deal with the fallout, is what's going to matter.